So when the news broke about rapper Lil Poppa's tragic passing, the conversation immediately turned from his music to his personal life. Today, we're gonna respectfully cut through all that noise and lay out the verified facts about the family he left behind.
You know, in the middle of all the shock and the grief, one question just completely took over the internet. What family was Janarious Mykel Wheeler, who we all know as Lil Poppa, actually building?
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. On one hand, you had this total storm of online rumors, people talking about multiple kids, secret families, just all this unverified chatter. But on the other hand, you have the actual facts, which tell a much clearer and honestly a more heartbreaking story. We're going to stick to the facts.
So let's get right to the heart of it. What's the real story here? Let's talk about the child he left behind.
Okay, so the biggest, most important number in this whole story, it's 1. That's it. Despite everything you might have heard or read online, every reliable source confirms Lil Poppa had one son. Just one.
And his son's name is PJ Wheeler. He was born back in June of 2022, which means he was only 3 years old when his dad passed away. He's really the center of the family that Lil Poppa leaves behind.
And man, this is where the tragedy just really hits you, right? A father gone at just 25 years old, leaving behind a son who is only 3. The gap between those two numbers is it's staggering.
Okay, so to really get the full picture of PJ's world, we absolutely have to talk about his mother, Toie Roberts.
And look, Toie Roberts is not just the mother of his child. She is a powerhouse in her own right. At just 23, she's already the founder and CEO of Ashanti Beauty. She runs a fashion line called 42 Clothing, and she has a massive following online. Oh, and yeah, she's also the eldest daughter of the one and only Rick Ross.
But, behind all of that success, all those accomplishments, the reality of her life just changed in an instant. She's now a single mother raising a 3-year-old who just lost his dad. It's a profound shift that sits underneath everything else.
And that connection, of course, brings another huge name into this story, the grandfather, Rick Ross. This became a deeply personal loss for a true hip-hop icon.
And here's why this is so important for him personally. PJ isn't just one of his grandkids. He is Rick Ross's only confirmed grandchild. So this loss is a direct, and you have to imagine, a deeply painful family tragedy.
And I'm sure you remember this moment, right? When PJ was born, Rick Ross, the boss, posts this, calling himself Gucci Grandpa. It was such a real human moment that just blew up online because it showed this whole other side of him. That wasn't a mogul. That was just a proud grandfather.
So you might be wondering, what was the story between Lil Poppa and Toie Roberts? Well, a lot of their relationship played out in public, and we can kind of piece together a timeline from all those moments.
It's a really modern story, It started with this big public photo shoot for the pregnancy, then the birth of their son, which Rick Ross celebrated online. But about a year later, things got complicated. The relationship had a very public fracture, talked about in music and on social media. In the end, though, it seems they found their way to a co-parenting relationship.
And that's really the most important part of their story. No matter what was going on between them, whether they were together, broken up, whatever, their son PJ was always the constant. He was the anchor that kept their worlds connected.
So where does that leave us? It brings us to the legacy. I mean, what does a father who dies at 25 really leave behind for a 3-year-old son who's barely going to remember him?
This really breaks it down, doesn't it? On one side, PJ inherits this incredible world. His dad's music with hundreds of millions of streams, a mother who's a successful entrepreneur, a grandfather who's a legend. But then you look at the other side. The biggest inheritance of all is an absence, a void left by a father who's gone way, way too soon.
So at the end of the day, Lil Poppa left behind more than 247 million streams. He left behind a son, a little boy who will have to get to know his dad's story, not from memories, but through the raw, honest truth he left behind in his music.